This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Tiger Plumbing. Whether you need to replace a faucet, overhaul your sump pump, or desludge your drains, call Tiger Plumbing. In today's world, knowing who's at your door is important. Tiger Plumbing sends you your technician's photo, estimated time of arrival, and a little bit about him or her. Hey, Sam likes fishing and camping. Cool.
We're coming to you from the Elephant and Castle in downtown Chicago on Wabash Street. And with us today, we're kind of excited, we have the former Honey Bears. And I'm going to introduce them. First of all, we have Tina Guy, who was one of the original Honey Bears. She was on the squad in 77 and 78. And then we have Renee Halverson Wright, who was actually the captain of the Honey Bears on 78, 79, and 80. And then we have Michellise Lawson, who was on the squad from 82 to 85.
That is correct.
Well, welcome to our show.
Oh, thanks for having us.
So excited to have you.
Yeah, we are so excited to hear about the history and all that you guys did, and a lot of things, some stories that you did on and off the field, the foundations, and some of the marvelous things you did. So why don't we start off by talking about the history of the Honey Bears, how they started.
Wow, how they started? Well, since I was there the first year, I guess that would be with me, right? I actually, and I read it in a lot of the girls' stories in the book. Everybody kind of found it the same way. Oh, it's in the newspaper, or some sort of literature that the Bears left around. That's how I heard about the Honey Bears, and it was very exciting. I was working for a law firm at the time, and I happened to look at the front page of the sports page, and there was a picture of a girl in a cheerleading outfit with one of the football players, I think the first draft pick that year, and they said they were going to start a squad. Well, I was really excited because I grew up in the suburbs and I was dying to get out of the suburbs. I really, that's not where I wanted to be. I was working in the city. I wanted to be in the city, and I thought this is a great opportunity for me to be a part of something in the city, and to get into being part of Chicago and the Chicago Bears. I mean, I was thrilled because my father, I used to watch the Bears with my father, so I was a real fan. I had the chance to be a cheerleader, and I loved being a cheerleader in high school. So, the original tryouts were down the street at Jackson. And we built the Chicago Bears front offices on Jackson in the Loop. And I arrived and just kind of signed in reception. It was very quiet. There were a group of girls, not a lot of girls, maybe half a dozen girls in the office waiting to go in for the tryouts. And the tryouts we went into a room, like a conference room maybe, with a white table, and there was the coach with a boom box, and she played some music and showed us a couple of dance steps, and that's all we did for dancing. It was really, I couldn't believe it, actually. But after that, we went into another room where we met with the PR director, Ted Harris, and his assistant, Corinne Neerman, who really was the leader of the Honey Bears for this first 2 years. And that was a group interview, I think 4 to 6 girls, something like that, and they asked us questions. I don't remember what they were. If Michellise was there, she would be able to tell us. a great memory. Yeah, that was the beginning. It was very low-key, that first year of tryouts. But the second year was very different. The second year already we were at Lakeshore Park, where we had been practicing the first year, and the tryouts where there was a lot more pressure because now people knew who the girls were. Nobody had known about it in the beginning. It was all brand new. Nobody knew anything. I didn't know what to expect. None of it. Right?
Right, well, I think too, on Tina's year, from what I remember, too, is that they were going all over Rush Street. Corinne Ehrman, who worked for Ted Harris, okay, he said, you know, we want to start a cheerleading group, and so she was just going everywhere on Faces or whatever, and just looking for, you know, good-looking women to say, hey, do you want to try out for the Bears?
That's true. The first year we had 5 bunnies. They gave the literature over at the Playboy Club, so we had 5 bunnies on the squad.
Oh, wow.
Yes. What we say? You know, I think too the Bears were not doing that well in 1977. As you know, Papa Bear wanted something to distract, you know, and bring more color to the sidelines. And he loved the Dallas Cowgirls, and he wanted to have that same thing in Soldier Field. So he, you know, went to at the time Jim Finks, who went to Ted Harris, who went to Corinne Ehrman, who became our director, and this is how it all started. And he basically was really a big part of the Honey Bears, especially in the first year. And as far as the uniforms go, they sent, I know once Corinne Ehrman, they had to find a coach, so they found our coach Kathy Kaur, who was once a nun. We call her Mama Bear to this day.
So was she strict like a nun?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Yes. And I think we still feel I feel like we go to her to this day, you know.
Yes.
It's just this, you know, thing.
Yeah.
She still has her license plate that says Ma Bear, right?
Oh, that's
So
great.
she's always going to be our Ma Bear, you know?
Yeah.
But she came in and they sent Kathy and Corinne to Dallas so that they could, you know, watch the Dallas Cowgirls, look at their uniforms, and I guess they came back with some drawings and some ideas of like how to, you know, what kind of uniform to come up with. And as you know, if you look at the Honey Bears, we had navy blue sleeves the first year, and first poster of the year was 1977, and it was like an amazing time for all of us, all the different years that we've experienced. But I think in 77, when the Honey Bears first walked out onto Soldier Field, the fans just, you know, they love the Honey Bears, and to this day, they still love the Honey Bears. And
Yeah, they used to cheer back at us.
yes,
Yeah.
They liked
Well, I
us
remember
a
that
lot.
time because I'll be honest with you, I was watching the Steelers in Miami. I mean, I know, but that's how bad it was. I mean, we had a quarterback that no one could catch his passes. I mean, it was. But anyway, then you guys came along, and I think I'm gonna
Start watching the football game again.
Then Michellise.
Yes,
what else?
Michellise. I came on the squad, audition in 1982. And when I auditioned, I saw the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and I knew I wanted to be an NFL cheerleader. So I had missed the audition deadline in 81, so I tried out again in 82. I made sure I had my picture, I had the application, I had my leotard, I had my dance shoes, I had my leg warmers. I was ready.
You know, by the way, the song is playing now. It's getting hot in here. It's so ironic. I'm just saying. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's, you know.
And the audition process was like a 3-week ordeal. You went the first week, you auditioned, and then if you made it, you went back the second week. And if you made that, you went the third week. Now the third week was more intimidating because that's when the returning veterans came back.
Oh.
And you saw polished ladies from head to toe, makeup, hair, figures, attitude, the way they project, you were like, okay, I'm not making it. But then with my confidence in me being a professional dancer, I knew I had the edge to make it there. And then when the last day came and Kathy Kaur was like, I don't know, and we all sat there in our leotards and freezing in the room, and we auditioned at the McCormick Inn Hotel. And next thing I know, Kathy Kaur said, welcome to the 1982-83 squad. I was so happy. I was like, I made it. And then all the ladies ran to the phone to call their mother. This is like before cellular phones. They call their moms on the phone. I called my mom, and in her sleepy voice, I said, Mom, I made the Honey Bear. She's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, how did you know? She said, okay, call me back. And I was like, oh my goodness. So that was my experience being on there, and it was grueling. It wasn't a walk in the park. You had to know your stuff when you came to audition. Yeah.
And I saw some of the things you sent me, the rehearsals, and it looked pretty
there was
grueling.
a lot. I mean, like the second year, there was over 1,500 girls for 28 spots. So, you don't think you're going to make the team. You hope you're going to make the team. You do the best that you can. But the scary thing is once you do make the team, you don't ever want to not make the team again because it's such an awesome experience. But you know that each year they cut half the team.
You have to re-audition.
You have to re-audition, and you have to, like, you could try out with your white boots on, right? That was like showing that you were a veteran.
Yes.
Right? And then after the auditions, we have to throw in our white boots into a pile, never knowing if we're going to see them again or wear them again. And so it's a lot of dance routines, interviews.
Yes. And then also too, you also had the added what's the word I'm looking for, but just the nerves, because then you had celebrity guests, judges, who were also judging you. So you had like Jim Rose, you might see someone else from channel CBS News, and they came there to see you audition, and then you had the Sharon, who was the head of our talent agency. Sharon Cooper, who was the head of our talent agency. So you really were up against some really tough critics. And it wasn't like you came in there and you rah-rah. You had to show them that you had presence and poise and you can dance.
Like America's Got Talent. Wait for Simon Cowell to just hit the buzzer.
So it is kind of interesting. We didn't plan way back to I don't know how we arranged this, but really what we have is the veteran down at the end started in the inception of the Honey Bears, and then you. Now you have a special story to tell. As well as yours is so meaningful, but you were the last squad.
Yes, I was. I was on the last squad, and that happened to be the Super Bowl squad. So that whole year, working up to the Super Bowl, it was grinding, grueling. It was like we knew something was going on, but we didn't know quite. But Kathy Court came in one day during practice, and we were dancing our hearts out. We knew that the Bears were headed to the Super Bowl, and she said, "I have bad news, ladies." And we were like, "What?" And then she said, "We're not going to be returning for the 86-87 season." And we all burst into tears, and we saw the tears streaming down Kathy's face, and we just knew that we had to dance our hearts out. This is the last go round for us. And
very sad, and for them too. And from writing the book, Kathy held this in for over a year. They knew, like, in '83, what happened too is when Papa Bear Hallis passed away in '83. They wanted to end the Honey Bears, but they couldn't because we had a contract with A+ Talent Agency, and Sharon Cooper said, "Fine, but we have a contract through 1985," which happened to be the Super Bowl year that we were disbanded. And having the girls, they kept it. They said, "Don't say anything because things could change." So they kept it under wraps. They didn't want to tell anybody about it because they didn't want it to get out to the media. And the girls, obviously, when they did find out, I mean, hearing your stories and how hard that must have been. There was a lot of, like Coach Core said, a lot of venting, a lot of tears. Like, what did we do wrong? Our uniforms don't look anything like. We show very little skin.
We will mention that they haven't won a Super Bowl since they disbanded.
Honey Bear Curse.
Honey Bear Curse.
Honey Bear Curse.
Bring them back.
It's chapter 13 of our book, and it's kind of interesting how a lot of the fans, talk about that.
And there's only 6 NFL teams that don't make a cheer squad.
Right.
Yes.
Well, they're missing, honestly.
They are.
I mean, I love watching the cheerleaders. I don't understand.
Oh, I do too.
I mean,
it's not like it's just a guy thing.
I know, it isn't. It isn't
No,
just a guy.
women love it.
Women love it. It's great to see the girls get out there. Renee and I went to the NFL cheerleader alumni convention.
Yes.
In Nashville this year.
So much fun.
And we were in Nashville, so the Titans cheerleaders were all, they looked so cute. It was like, can I get a picture with you? And like, I was like on the other end at that point, sitting, standing between a couple of the Titans cheerleaders. They were so cute, and they were, they love what they do, and all the girls really just love being
tell the Raiderettes story. We're walking down the street.
The Raiderettes.
The Raiderettes.
Yeah.
We met the girls from the Raiders. The Raiders moved to Vegas, and so they're hosting the convention this year in Las Vegas in July. But we met the girls from the Raiders that were, I think they were a few years behind me anyway. I think maybe they were like 80. Around that. Do you remember?
I think so. It's in the 80s.
Anyway, they heard we were with the Chicago Honey Bears. The one girl goes, I love the Honey Bears. She just was like, really?
And we're like, Tina and I are like standing in the street like,
the girl just grabbed onto me. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting the Honey Bears. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
She's like, can we touch you? And I'm like, really? And we're like, we kept going like, really? And Tina and I were kind of like, wow.
There's a mutual respect for the ladies.
That is cool.
I liked their pom-poms because they had silver pom-poms.
Yeah, you guys had some fans from the other squad.
It's like a sisterhood. It's like a sisterhood.
That's great.
It's a sisterhood.
So on the weekends we were the Honey Bearettes. The Raiderettes.
They were fun. Those girls were fun.
One thing we were going to segue into, because you mentioned chapters in the book, and I think I forgot to mention that Renee is an author, and you've written a couple of books, one of which is about the Honey Bears.
Yes, I co-authored with Carolyn Gillette, and thank God she was there to help me, and everyone, I thought it's our book, it's the Honey Bear book, and I just took on the crazy beast of doing it, and it started when we were doing a lot of TV shows. There were people who were asking us, tell us about your days, what happened, and I said, wow, people still really want to hear about the Honey Bears. So after the 4th year of filming some shows right before Bears kickoff season, Carolyn was on in 1979, and we didn't know each other that well. I mean, we did a Great America special tap dance together, but we were at this one at AJ Public House. We were there, and we were doing the kickoff, and we were both into cats, so I think that was it. We had a cat connection. So after we had done filming, I said, you know what? I went home and I started putting up pictures, like bring back the Honey Bears, and I started visualizing a book, bring back, and I'm like, there's a picture with, one of the Honey Bears standing on the sidelines, and my vision was Missing From The Sidelines, and that's why, that's how it became Missing From The Sidelines. And when I came up with the idea to write it, I thought, it's just to be a book for all of us.
Right.
And I don't think any of the girls thought this book was going to happen, because it took 4 years to write, 394 pages, over 400 pictures. And we had a lot of interruptions in that book where we had to take out certain pictures because we still don't own the rights for certain pictures. So we had to dig into old boxes and came up with treasures. We did.
A lot of treasures,
a lot of work taking pictures. From back in the day, we didn't have iPhones. And so I had to work a lot on just trying to bring the pictures to a good clarity and stuff like that. But so the book, 4 years later, we had a huge press, party at Ditka's, and Coach Ditka.
Yes.
I interviewed him and his wife, and he was really gracious to give us that interview about what his thoughts are.
I got a great Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka story. Mike Ditka. We were on the flight back from New Orleans in Super Bowl in January of 1986, and we were all in the back of the plane, and the Chicago Bears staff was in the front. The players who flew back were in the middle, and we were in the back of the plane, this huge plane. And Mike Ditka came back with his wife. He walked back to the back of the plane, and he was a little tipsy, and he said, I don't care what any of these people say on the field, you girls got the best asses.
Oh my God. And really?
Yeah.
I love him even more now.
And we all looked at each other, and Diana Ditka, she ushered him back up to the front.
And we
didn't
know I was going to say that.
No. She got a kick out of it. Diana Ditka, when I got on the squad in '82, her and Mike came to one of our practices at McCormick Inn Hotel, and he promised us a Super Bowl. And his wife said, I'm going to be with him every step of the way. And they were there. They were very, very gracious with us. And they said, Mike said, I'm going to promise you a Super Bowl. And in your mind, you're like, yeah, right. But he delivered.
Yeah.
He
And you know what?
delivered.
And he also was so gracious to show up at our
Yes.
book release.
Yeah.
And he signed autographs.
Yes.
Oh, that's
He
great.
stayed a long
For an
time.
hour and 45 minutes to be exact.
Yes.
And, and Diana was there as well.
Yes.
And so we're really grateful. And, he did a really nice, there's a really nice interview in the book. If you're going to read it, it's all on him.
I mean, you hear stories about players. Of course, coach and player relationship sometimes ends up being brutal. But I mean, everything I've heard, he's a class act.
Yeah,
he is.
everybody loves him.
Yeah, he's loyal. He is diehard, and to this day, a diehard Bears fan. And so that is amazing. But yeah, I'm just sitting here pretending I'm having a heart attack.
Well, he
Bring
loved the
back
honey
the
bears.
coach.
He did.
He went up to Coach
Yeah.
Kathy Core on the plane and squeezed her like cheek and
Yeah.
said, keep your chin up.
And he sure did. I mean, they were all like that. I've met many of the Bear players. I've done public appearances with them.
Yeah.
Very respectful, never out of line with us. When you had to take pictures, sometimes we had to deal with a lot of men, overlooking or maybe want to put the hand a little too close to something. I mean, we had to kind of and Kathy Core as our coach, she told us and taught us how to deal with that kind of unwanted attention. And believe me, it took some finessing sometimes where you've been out maybe at a golf club outing and you're working there and you get some guys and you just, again, you stay poised, but you just let them know that, no, you're overstepping.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Coach Ditka, but during your time as a Honey Bear, one of my favorite, he is the favorite all-time player, Sweetness.
Walter Payton.
Oh,
I had on many occasions have met Walter Payton. The coach Johnny Rowland was his coach, and I mean Walter was gracious. I remember going up to Platteville, Wisconsin.
Hey, that's my neck of the woods.
I know, we were up there and it was hot. It was hotter than July, and he had a Winnebago. And he said, if you ladies would like to go into the Winnebago and get cooled off, please do. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, he offered that, and I was there when he his monumental achievement, beating Jim Brown's record.
Yeah.
And that was like a marvel to watch. I was just like in awe. And then Refrigerator high-fived him, and Big Mama Boy Otis high-fived him. I mean, it was just
They were
Richard
good
Dent.
dancers too, those guys.
Oh, it was really to see history like that at Soldier Field. It was just amazing.
Getting back to your book, and you want to tell people a bit about how is it available on Amazon? And
How do people
are you
get a
gonna
copy?
be having book signings anywhere?
Yes, and we're looking for places to do book signings as well. We've done a number of them,
Yes.
and the girls all show up. They just, because that's our way to get together and
Yeah.
hang out, and everyone signs their page. So we'll hopefully have some upcoming. But we are on Amazon, also on Facebook. We have a page called Missing From The Sidelines. We're on Instagram, Missing From The Sidelines. You can follow us there as well. Going back to Walter really quick though, because Walter, we all cheered when Walter was playing on Tina too, and there is one really cute story that one of the Honey Bears had a flat tire along the interstate on her way to go to the game, and who shared this story was his son Jared. Okay, when we were filming with Jared, and he said, yeah, my dad sees this honey bear standing along the interstate, like in her outfit, and she's got a flat tire. So he pulled off and he got out and changed her tire for her. And
Nice.
she got in her car, he got in his car, and they both drove to Soldier Field. So that was the kind of guy he was.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why they called him Sweetness.
That's right. Yes, absolutely.
And so that's about one book. Now, do you want to tell us a bit about your other book?
Yes, I wrote a story about my father, and it's about football, of course, because I was brought up in a really small town called Dodgeville, Wisconsin, and a father who football was his life, and he was from a family of 17 children, the only one to be able to finish high school, and his dream was to become a Badger one day. He loved football, he loved sports, he lived for sports, and he had to leave home at the age of like 13, 14 and live at a lot of different farms just to go to high school, and he had no way to get there but to run. So the book is called Running Country Roads and Life Lessons Learned. And so, I was able to look at my father in a completely different way, and I did have to put his book on the back burner because I didn't realize our book was going to be 4 years long. And now he's 95, and I was able to publish that book this September before his 95th birthday. So it is, something that I'm real proud of, and it's, a great pride for my dad to be able to share his life story. I think it reminds me of a Forrest Gump type story, and we're hoping for a documentary, and we'll see where it goes, but that's also on Amazon.
Nice.
And my father is Chuck Halverson. I just must say his name, but
Absolutely.
He's 95 now. There was 11 boys and 6 girls. They lived in a 3-bedroom home. It was during the Depression, of course.
Oh, wait, 17 people in a 3-bedroom home?
No,
19 people, because there'd be a mom and a dad.
Yeah.
Plus
with
17
17 kids, and they lived off the land, and their stories, and everyone back then during the Depression, I think it just kind of, he's a World War II vet as well. So it's just an inspirational read. It's a quick read. It's only like, I believe, 95 pages, but I think you'll get a lot out of it.
And he was a great dancer. I don't know if he's dancing these days. How was to dance?
Sounds like you have some experience with this.
Renee and I were roommates in 1970. We were both captains that year, and we were roommates. And her dad and mom used to come in for the games on the weekends, and they would come out with us to BBC to go dancing, and her father can really dance.
Well, imagine he's a Packer fan, right? So now he's buying Bears season tickets, and he just loved the Honey Bears. I love the Honey Bears.
It was fun.
And to this day, he's like, "That's my daughter. She's
It's
a Honey Bear."
so good to hear about someone coming from the dark side over to you. Why don't we hear about what you guys are doing today? What are you doing?
Well, before we get to what they're doing today, I want to hear about some of the things. The Honey Bears weren't just to look good on the sidelines and to dance and to bring it. You guys did a lot of good things for the city of
Foundation,
Chicago and things with not-for-profits and things like that.
They always asked us to show up at different charity events. There were charity events for example, in a big ballroom, there was a big fundraiser. There were also, during the summer, golf events that we would go to as well. So we had lots of opportunities to show up.
Well, Little City was our own personal charity, and over, like I said, $250,000 that we raised on our own. The Brian Piccolo tournament. In 2015, we got together for Chaco. So we've been doing a lot of, even involving the Lovables, and some ladies to help younger girls who need the extra help for dance to support them and stuff like that. It's called I Am Woman.
We'd also, too, I know when I was on the squad, we did a lot with the local unions, Teamsters. We did a lot with the Teamsters and supported them, and a lot of the Super Bowl parties are sponsored by the Teamsters. So,
The cool thing about all of the Honey Bears, I have to say, from writing this book, is that we all got to know each other. If it wasn't for the book, a lot of us wouldn't know each other today, wouldn't know you.
Right.
But like from 77 to 85, we all came from different walks of life, different neighborhoods, and we all became sisters.
Yes.
To this day, we have a private page. We're very, very close.
Yes.
It's something that we hold close to our hearts.
Yes, we do.
And we're very proud, of our time in Soldier Field. We're sad that we're not there anymore, but we still cheer for the Bears, and we cheer for each other and our kids and our families.
Well, maybe someday
Yeah.
they'll bring them back.
And we know
absolutely.
that Papa Bear Hallis was such a huge influence with you guys, and so iconic with the Chicago Bears. But you have a story about him that I would love for you to share.
Well, during the course of writing the book, after, can you imagine 4 years of writing, and it was morning, day, and night, and it basically became like the more history, or the more that I learned, the history that I discovered was, I grew up in Chicago, and Papa Bear House, I had never got to meet him. A lot of the girls in 77, 78, they went to his birthday party. Remember, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I was so impressed by his story. And of course, I read up about his daughter Virginia, and I wanted to relate. Well, their story was a father and daughter story to me, and so I related his story with his daughter to my relationship with my father in football. And so during the time that I was writing the book, I just kept wanting to go to where he was laid to rest. And finally I thought, I'm going, because I kept talking about it, thinking about it, and I went online to see what his mausoleum looked like, and I saw, the big, house name. So I pull up to this gigantic cemetery one day, and I didn't really know where to go, but I just thought, I'm just going to drive and maybe I'll find this mausoleum in this. And I felt how I wrote in my postscript, which I didn't put it in the book because it was so personal to me, but I kind of felt like my car was taking me where I was supposed to go. It's very different feeling for me. I mean, there it was, and I got out and slowly walked up and just kind of stood there, and I just wanted to thank him. I wanted to have his blessing for our book. I wanted him to have a blessing. I wanted to thank him for wanting dancing girls, and that, there were many of us that never thought we could be cheerleaders, and but he changed the lives, my life.
Yes.
He changed the lives of so many of the women who cheered in Soldier Field, and it's so much more than just standing there with pom-poms and but there was a lot that I wanted to thank him for, and I wanted, like I said, I wanted his blessing, and I had that moment, and it was a moment I'm never going to forget, I guess. I mean, it was just a moment I'm not going to forget, and just was grateful to be there. Hopefully we got his blessing, because I know he wanted dancing girls. As long as he was alive, I'm sure he was going to have dancing girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure he was just thinking of, we got to fill these seats because the team get the dancing girls.
But he
bring
did
out
so
the
much
dancing
more
girls.
than that.
Yeah, well, you guys were so much more than that. I mean, team spirit, it's all involved with the fan spirit, and gosh, I'm trying to think what it would have been like in college. There were no college football cheerleaders, or what, in high school.
It changes.
It does.
And and Tina and I started too, and I think all the way through 80, we had to, we didn't bring this up, but we practiced 3 times a week, and we didn't do this for money.
Right.
Yeah.
We did this because we loved to cheer, and everyone had to go to school, everyone had to have a job,
Right.
and we were just so proud to be a part of Bears history, and we went through a difficult time, and it was different, as you talked about. We had to weigh in at practice before make weigh-ins, and there's a funny story in the book about how the scale disappears one day, and but you couldn't get away with that today, but so that was hard, and a lot of girls students, they tried out 2, 3, 4 times before they made it, and they never gave up. And so I like that about, if you read it, there's a lot of inspirational stories about not giving up, and
In fact, that's the next thing I was going to ask what you were doing today. But when we get into that, now that you brought that up, what do you feel, being a honey bear, how has that impacted your life today? What did you pick up from it?
Who wants to start?
You start.
I wouldn't have these 2 girls sitting next to me. I wouldn't have that dance in my step, that smile when I look at these pom-poms. No, what it's done for me is it opened a whole new door, and I think anyone that's interested in I started dancing at the age of 4 in a really small town, and I always loved cheerleading. So I felt like it was a stepping stone. It was like open doors to acting or to whatever you might do. It gave you the confidence. One thing I do really enjoy right now is our book signings and being able to talk to younger girls about, supporting each other and to believe. And if you didn't make it this time, don't stop trying. Always believe in yourself. And when I went home to a town of 3,000 people, it was it's like my math teacher showed up. I was horrible at math, and I'm like, I wasn't very good at math, Mr. Predigal. So I'm like, but they were all there for me. And then all of a sudden, I get all these little
impacted my life. It led me to be gracious, respectful. There was a woman, a young girl, she was in the South End Zone, and she was dying of leukemia. And Kathy Court told me that I was her favorite dancer. And I said, little old me from the South Side? She said, yeah. I didn't realize what an impact that I had on her. And I hugged her. She had the scarf on. You can tell she had chemo. There was no hair, but her smile was there. And it showed me if she can smile and be in that South End Zone after I've been here and my feet hurt, then Michellise, by golly, you can do that. So that's how it really impacted me, and just learning how to be gracious with people.
Rocky's daughter.
Yes.
Rocky was a really well-known mascot.
Yes,
some people
he was.
might remember him.
Yeah.
In the stands.
That was Rocky's daughter.
That was Rocky's daughter?
It was Rocky's daughter.
Oh,
So, when we wrap things up by just letting people know what you're doing today.
Tina?
I am sort of a professional cheerleader, so I don't know.
You never stop.
I know. You know what? It's just who I am, and I work with people from all over the world. People come in that are working for multinationals, and I help them assimilate to the American culture and to improve their English.
From having a background in dance from the age 4, and cheerleading has always been kind of my life, I went from dance into fitness, and it was like a perfect fit for me. So I've been involved as an aerobic instructor to a personal trainer. I actually designed a fitness product called the Power Pole Lunge Bowls that I put into a lot of the spas, the Golden Door, Sandals Resorts, and it was a whole program designed around lunging to make lunging fun. So today I'm still training, and I'm thinking up a 3rd book, and enjoying my time still with the Honey Bears and promoting the book. Missing From The Sidelines, again, is on Amazon, and we're always looking to do book signings attached to a charity. We're always up for that, and I'm just enjoying my time. I moved to the city, and back close to my friend Tina. We're 40 plus years later, we're still going out there and cheering for our kids and
Happy hour.
having fun. Enjoying the city life now.
Yeah, if you ever need a third to join.
Okay.
Right now, I work at a law firm. I've always worked when I was on Honey Bears. So I'm at a law firm. I'm a law assistant. I've been there now for like 13 years. I'm always the life of the Christmas party because, again, I'm a performer. I'm a dancer. And I sing, and I've always had jokes. So that's what I've been doing now. I've been married now for 30 years. A lot of people always say, 30 years, you don't look like you're 30 yourself. I'm like, well, God bless. And again, it has a lot to do with being a honey bear and being the best. Kathy Court taught us to be the best, look the best. Always present yourself how you want people to treat you. So
Never
that's
go to
always
the grocery store without makeup on.
or rollers in your hair. So that's always been my life. And like I said, I'll probably retire at the law firm.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys coming on our show and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Sharing everything from the inception of the Honey Bears to now. I'll tell you, if they call you guys back up again, I think you could do the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you much.
Thank you.
And good luck with the book, and
Thank
I hope
you.
that it gets a lot of exposure. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now.
Bye. This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Tiger Plumbing. Whether you need to replace a faucet, overhaul your sump pump, or desludge your drains, call Tiger Plumbing. In today's world, knowing who's at your door is important. Tiger Plumbing sends you your technician's photo, estimated time of arrival, and a little bit about him or her. Hey, Sam likes fishing and camping. Cool.